Alright guys, Dave Genva here again for my weekly video. Yeah, I'm Satan, I've said it again and again. I'm the devil himself. I'm here working for God. The devil actually is God's servant. I'm the guy that runs hell. You don't want to go down to hell, you want to go to heaven, obviously. Because you're not going to have a good time in hell. I do. I enjoy torturing you. I've been built by God, a psycho Roman nutcase, to enjoy torturing you. So I have a good time down there, but you won't. Keep telling the monkeys, put your money in Wisdomtree, CRUD. Now, what some of the monkeys might have done is they put some of their money in Wisdomtree, CRUD, which has recently just had a dip, I think. Well, it's Sunday today, Friday, a dip of about something like 5% or something. Yeah, your lizard bitch King Charles, he does that regularly. He'll have a spike up, spike down. Those spike downs are sort of to psychologically put pressure on you to cash out of Wisdomtree CRUD. But if you leave it long enough, the price of oil will just go back up again. So, you know, you just got to play a waiting game. I actually asked God, how long are we going to be waiting for this great reset? And he said, currently the plan is from Charles to do it in a couple of years. So this time in a couple of years, 2026, sometime in 2026, probably in the summer. He's got a plan to do this great reset. So that's what God's saying is the plan that King Charles has got at the moment. But until that point, you know, oil prices are going to be going up, and then eventually bang through the roof. And if you ain't got your money, you know, they'll be going up gradually over the next couple of years. But if you haven't got your money in Wisdomtree CRUD, you're going to be in serious shit. All the Reptilians have. They won't tell you. They're so secretive, the Reptilians. You got to remember, they've been hiding their whole evolutionary history. They're not bad guys. Not all Reptilians are bad. King Charles is no good. He's a bag of shit. The average Reptilian might be a good guy, but they have a subservience to the king, because the king can kick you out of Reptile Club. So they've got their little club, you know, Reptilians. And if you don't show subservience to the king, King Charles, who's the king of the Reptilians, if you don't show subservience to him, you get kicked out of the club. You're not sort of allowed really to have friends, happiness in your life, anything like that, you know. All your opportunities, your job opportunities are pretty much killed. He'll just make your life terrible, and he might actually have you killed. Although he has lost a lot of power now because atheism has gone in the bin. He was the sort of cunt, King Charles, to make you want to think, well, I'm God, I'm the devil. You know, he's the sort of cunt to make you want to think that. I'm the one who has all the power. He actually didn't. He was ruled over by aliens. The Greys were his boss, and the boss of the Greys was the Nordics. He was too stupid to figure out that they're shit at fighting. So they're not supposed to be a boss. They are good with technology though. And he's too stupid to figure that bit out. He's not that smart of a man. So what some of the monkey men might be doing is they've got some of their money in Wisdomtree CRUD. And obviously that's good. But it is actually better to have all your money in Wisdomtree CRUD. There's no good being in cash, because when you have high inflation, your cash savings are going to be rendered worthless. You know, you've got a couple of years, you can see oil prices going up. So it's not going to happen tomorrow, this great reset. I think it's a couple of years, but that's what God says. So, but say if you have your money in the stock market, that's going to drop massively. You might have your money in bonds, All these other investments, precious metals, maybe gold, silver, cryptocurrency, avoid that like the fucking plague. Cryptocurrency, all these other investments are going to drop. And the only one that's going to do well is Wisdomtree, CRUD. That's why all the reptilians, by their king, have been told to put their money there. And when you do that, your money will just track the price of oil. Now, when the Great Reset does happen in a couple of years, all the reptilians will pretend to be struggling financially as well. But you'll notice that they don't actually get skinny. They can still afford food. Maybe some reptilians will struggle. Some who haven't got enough savings. Maybe some of them will struggle. You know, but the majority of them will be fine, right? This is what you need to realise. So they'll tell you, oh, you need to be diversified. The reptilians who run the banking system will say you need to be diversified. You need to have your money in index tracker funds. That tracks like the whole stock market. Say like you got the SP 500 or the FTSE 100. It'll track all of it. You know, so you need to be diversified. You need to have money in stocks, cash, bonds, you know, spread across all these things. Maybe a little bit of cryptocurrency. All these things are going to collapse. You actually need to be the opposite. You've only got an economy because of crude oil. Crude oil's cheap as chips at the minute. Cheap as chips. It's so cheap because you're talking something like $80 a barrel. It's peanuts. You're buying in really cheap if you're buying in right now. You've only got so much of it. You've only got one planet. Yes, I've done free energy, but the king, the lizard bitch king, King Charles, even though I slag him off continuously, say he's a bitch, I talk about how God with the mind powers are killing off fucking Kate Middleton and Prince William and Camilla. I think Camilla's the next one to, you know, get done over by God's mind powers. Even though I say all these things, he doesn't say anything about it in the media. He doesn't acknowledge my presence at all. Why? Because he's a total pussy. He's not willing to face the music. He's took the attitude of, I will only face the music with all of this once I'm dead and in hell. Obviously he's going to hell. Like, if it would take for him to come out and just be honest and say, yeah, God's real, Satan's real, he's actually in Birmingham, is this guy, Dave Genvy. And yeah, we were planning a great reset on oil. We need to U-turn on that. All these wars in the Middle East need to stop, and in Russia. You know, he'd have to come clean on everything, that he's the one who runs the world. And he'd have to come clean on the fact that reptilians are real. You know, these lizard people. You know, they've got this incredible camouflage that's so sophisticated. But it doesn't really matter, you know. Like I keep saying, your average reptilian's not your enemy. He's just trying to survive just like you are. He's there, got his money in Wisdomtree, CRUD. Might be a bricklayer, a plumber, a plasterer. He's just trying to survive, you know what I mean? Like you are, as a monkey man. So, this is what you got to realise. There's no point taking it out on your average reptilians. They've lived alongside you for forever, so there's no point getting angry about it. It's their camouflage was so good. The only real way you can really see it, I have seen it once, a shapeshift malfunction in real life, but only ever once in my entire life. You have to really use slow-mo cameras and stuff like that really to see it. So, you know, the green lizards, it is what it is. Oh yeah, something I wanted to say. I was checking my sheet down there, I got my plan for my video down there. Prince William, I talked about how he publicly is an Aston Villa supporter. But really, he'll support Bayern Munich. As a British royal, you know, you're German. They look backward and view themselves as German, and their allegiance is to the German national football team. That's why they sabotage English football. But in the case of Prince William, I said, well, you know, the real club he supports is Bayern Munich. Well, I think among the British royals, he'd say, yeah, I support Bayern Munich. But the amount of times that guy would make the jaunt, the journey, all the way to Aston Villa football ground, I think he was actually a true Villa fan. And if Aston Villa were to play Bayern Munich in the Champions League, he'd probably say to King Charles, oh yeah, I want Bayern Munich to win. But I bet secretly he'd want Aston Villa to win. So I just wanted to clarify that, because he made the journey so many times to Aston Villa Football Club. I don't think I was fair on him last week in saying that they really support Bayern Munich, because I suspect with Prince William, he did actually truly care for Aston Villa Football Club. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gone there so much. I don't think King Charles, he supports Burnley. I don't think he goes to many Burnley games. And the Queen supported West Ham, because that was the colour of their crest. They've changed the colour of their crest now, their family crest, their family badge. It used to be claret and blue or something. And that's why they supported Burnley, Villa and West Ham. Claret and blue's their colours, those clubs' colours. So, but I think with William, in case of William, he did truly care for the Villa. So I wanted to put that straight. I didn't want to, and like I say, I reckon he would have supported the Villa secretly. He just told Charles, yeah, I want Bayern Munich to win in the Champions League. Oh yeah, another thing I need to talk about, World War I and World War II. Now you might say, well, if the British royal family have allegiance to Germany, why did they allow the Germans to lose 2 world wars? In World War I and World War II. Well, the reason, because they don't want you to know that their allegiance is to Germany. They were told to do these wars, those 2 big wars, they were told to do them by their alien overlords. And even though their true allegiance was to Germany, the British royals, they still had the Allies and the British winning that war to try and show, oh no, we haven't got allegiance to Germany. You know what I mean? So they do loads of little tricks like that. I mean, they don't really give a fuck about your lives. I mean, they do stupid things like with the D-Day landings. This is a bad thing that happened. It wasn't King Charles's fault. This was King George's fault. They had the Americans, when they landed on Omaha Beach, all their tanks were like sunk, and they got shot to pieces. They took heavy casualties. They still managed to take the beach. But the reason they had that happen, that was happened deliberately. The Americans, well, I don't think they were supposed to take the beach, at Omaha Beach, on the D-Day landings. Whereas on all the other beaches, the tanks landed. Why? Because I think you had Australians, Canadians and British who were carrying the Union Jack on their flag at that time. I think the Canadian flag's changed now. It's like a maple leaf on a red background. White maple leaf on a red background, I think it is. But they carried the Union Jack. The Australians, Canadians, the British carried the Union Jack on their flag. So it's like, I think it was King George V, was it? Or 6? No, King George VI. It was a special day or whatever. And he wanted the Americans to let the side down, because on their Stars and Stripes flag, there's no Union Jack. So with the British Royals, it's a bit confusing really. It's a bit complicated. Who's their true allegiance to? It's to Germany. But then they are British as well, so maybe they have some love for the British Isles. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, that's terrible, to do that to the American soldiers. The whole thing's stupid. They're just being slaves to the aliens. The aliens there trying to reduce your fighting men, and then trying to come down later and say, look, you've been having all these wars, you stupid humans. You need us to rule over you, even though they've been ruling over you anyway. All these silly little games that are going on. And God just views it as utterly stupid. And that's why the Antichrist had to come down here to sort things out. But the thing is, you didn't need the aliens because you're not smart enough to invent technology like the smartphone or this camera that I'm talking on now. Humans, reptile and monkey, haven't got the brain power to design stuff like that computer without alien help from a species in the greys that are a lot smarter than you. You're a lot stronger than them. You're a lot, stronger, faster, bigger. But in terms of brain power, you just haven't got a chance against them. So hopefully that clears that up. Oh, something else I wanted to talk about, yeah. Alright guys, in this next video clip, I talk about the Southport stabbing incident. It's a tragic incident that's happened recently in the UK. There's the suspect there, and these are the three of the victims that have died. And there's some riots that are happening, anti-Muslim sentiment, because I think the suspect was a Muslim guy. Right, now, again, my videos keep getting sabotaged by the British bitch lizard king. The British bitch lizard king, King Charles III, is a total pussy. He's a child abuser. He's a child molester. He doesn't give a fuck about your lives. He doesn't give a fuck about the health of the planet. He doesn't give a fuck this guy's done these killings. He doesn't give a fuck about these kids. King Charles III is a piece of shit cunt who keeps sabotaging my videos. So what you're going to see on the next clip is the actual video's gone. It's just the audio. So you'll just have to settle for that because I can't be bothered to record it again. But yeah, King Charles, fuck off, mate. I'm going to be slagging you off for the rest of eternity, and I'm going to be torturing you in hell for eternity. Because guess what, King Charles? You're a piece of shit. You're a little bitch. Your son's been fucked up. Your fucking wife's getting fucked up. And Kate Middleton's fucking dead as a doorknob. So's your fucking son, you little fairy mince. But you still haven't had the bollocks to come through my front door with that shotgun, have you? Because you're a bitch. And you got no one else in the land who will kill me for you, have you? Well, they haven't turned up yet, so I don't think they're gonna, are they? Isn't that right, King Charles? You've been exposed as what you are, a bitch, a little fucking bitch. Right, something that's really serious now that I wanted to talk about. There's been a terrible tragedy in the UK just recently where 3 young girls have been stabbed to death by a young man that I think is a Muslim man. So these 3 girls here were just at a dance class, a Taylor Swift dance class. And I think some other girls have been stabbed and a couple of adults have been stabbed. Now at this dance class, the 2 adults that got stabbed, one was a woman in her 30s and the other was a man in his 60s. Right, this is something you need to understand and you need to learn this lesson now, humanity. Your children, right, are very, very vulnerable. Why? Because they're shit at fighting, right? And women are very vulnerable. Why? Because they're shit at fighting. And it's the same for old men. Old men, 63 is not that old, but old men are shit at fighting. Now, you've also got another problem where a lot of your young men are actually shit at fighting. So, in the stars, in the universe, this is something you need to get a grip on. It's one big fighting pit, one big fighting pit of violence. It's a really, really frightening place. And you only get Earths by being bad motherfuckers, having scary, scary fighting men. That's just the truth. And with your children, when you have them at a nursery, right, or a primary school, where the only people there to protect them are women. There's a lot of nurseries, it's just women that work there. And a lot of primary schools, same thing, it's just women. There's no actual men there. And you need young, physically strong men. They're physically strong and tough guys. Have you ever seen the film Kindergarten Cop? There's a good example. That's the sort of guy that makes a good teacher. Why? Because if anyone was to come into that class to try and hurt the children, Kindergarten Cop, Arnold Schwarzenegger, a big strong dude, is there to bash the fuck out that, bad guy that's coming to hurt the children. Now, when you're on alien Earths, the aliens are going to want to kill and eat your children, and you're not going to be able to protect them with, weak little women or weak little men or old men. You know what I mean? There's something you need to wrap your head around. I mean, the situation in the education system at the minute is fucking terrible. Now, these nurseries, right, I don't like it how, it's all women. I actually had my daughter at a nursery near to here, and the boss of the place was a woman, and that fucking cunt, right, is in a lot of trouble with me. She was teaching the kids a song. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, my daddy drives a rusty car. Now, that's not how the Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star song's supposed to go. She created a bastardised version of the song, of the nursery rhyme. Now, why had that cunt boss, that female cunt boss at that nursery done that? To undermine men, probably because she's a man-hating bitch. And all the staff in that fucking nursery were all women. Now, I think the staff were okay, the actual, people under her, but the boss was a cunt. And I actually complained about that song, and, the boss paid no attention to me. Well, that boss of that fucking nursery, guess what? You're in serious, serious, serious fucking shit in the afterlife for that one. Because fatherhood is the most important thing in reality. Motherhood's the second most important thing. But fatherhood's really important. And in this society currently, it's not really respected. Men aren't respected at all. I mean, most of you men, limp-wristed bitches, pussies. Total pussies. I actually even mentioned this situation with this nursery rhyme to a group of men who were, what you were going on about, mate? What's your fucking problem? Because they're fucking pussies. They were pussies. Those men were absolute bitch-whipped pussies. Pussies. Big-time pussies. A lot of you men are fucking flakes. They're fairy boy bitches. And they aren't the sort of men that get onto an alien Earth and say there's all fucking xenomorphs running around on it. They're not the sort of men that want to rip and tear those fucking xenomorphs the fuck up. They're the sort of bitches that want to get back on the ship and fuck off home because they're fucking pussies. And you're supposed to have at fucking nurseries and schools, primary schools, and all these places where you've got these little children, you're supposed to have guys like Kindergarten Cop. That's what you're supposed to have. Because I think the dude that stabbed these innocent girls up, this dance class. You know, I think he was a Muslim guy, right? Now, there's nothing wrong with being a Muslim. And you've got now protests against Muslims for the actions of one idiot Muslim. I think he's a Muslim. It's not, the media's not really saying it. But the lad who stabbed these girls, I think, was a 17-year-old Muslim who is angry at the world. Maybe he's angry at me, the devil. He's angry at God in heaven. Let me tell you this, right? If you're a religious dude, whether you are a religious guy, say you're a Hindu, and your God is Gishnu, like this elephant, or say you're Muslim, your God's Allah, or say you're Christian and your God is Jesus, or it doesn't matter, do you know what I mean? You're a fucking Buddhist and your God's Buddha. It doesn't fucking matter. It's all the same guy. When you get to heaven, it's all the same guy, right? So it doesn't really fucking matter that much. You might think, well, you know, I don't know, you might feel embarrassed, like the Hindus might feel embarrassed that, oh, we're worshipping a God that's, you know, some elephant thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. All that matters is you had it right in the sense that there is a God. That's the only bit that you need, you know, the only bit you need to get right was you need to know there is a God and you need to live a good life. Whether you call that God Gishnu or Allah or Jesus or Muhammad, it doesn't fucking, or Buddha, it doesn't make a fucking difference. It doesn't fucking matter. Do you know what I mean? So don't get your fucking knickers in a twist like a little bitch over that one. But some cunts will. Some little fairy twats like this 17-year-old cunt, right, will get their knickers in a twist. But that doesn't mean all Muslims are going to do something terrible like stabbing up some little girls. So I don't know why there's these guys doing protests outside of mosques. You know, because a lot of Muslim people would never dream of doing anything like that. Because what's happening now, in retaliation for this one idiot who stabbed these girls in the UK, this is the guy. You're getting protests and riots and stuff outside of mosques happening. I think that's what's happening. I think it is. It's sort of anti-Muslim, anti-government, anti-multiculturalism agenda. I don't know if you can see it all there. Because of this one idiot that just so happens to be a Muslim. But the fact of the matter is, there are these idiots out there. There's idiots in every religion. And you need to protect your kids. You need to protect your kids. And when you've got nurseries, you know, where it's very easy for some psycho to fucking break in. He just hops the fence or something. And the only people there to protect the kids are women. Then you've got a problem, haven't you? And you can't do that on alien Earths, because guess what? The aliens will hop the fucking fence to the nursery, and they'll grab one of your kids, or multiple kids, and fucking run off with them. And then kill them and eat them. That's how it will work. Humanity is very stupid at the minute. You're very fucking naive. And it's very sad what happened to them little girls. Absolutely tragic. Obviously, they would have gone to heaven, obviously. Heaven's a real place. So I don't know if that gives any consolation to the families. And this guy, once I'm in power, this twat, this piece of shit here, I mean, that was him when he was a kid. It's got him in there, drawing of him in court. And that was him when he was a little kid. Yeah. Well, the way it'll work with me, Roman crucifixion he'll be getting. So yeah, under me, this cunt, that's him as a kid, that's him as a man in court. This cunt here will be getting stripped bollock naked, right, and nailed to a cross, bolted through the kneecaps and bolted through the elbows. That's how it'll work, I think. It'll be whipped up first, whipped up front and back, you know, all his skin ripped up with a whip. If you've seen Passion of Christ, that gives you a good idea of what it's going to be like. He bolted through the knees, most likely, and through the elbows, onto a cross. Now, under King Charles, because King Charles is a child abuser, he loves child abuse, right? And he loves molesting children, little boys. He likes getting naked with little boys. He likes little boys to get naked with him, right? Because King Charles is a child molester. This guy will be protected in prison. He'll be protected. He'll get the red carpet treatment like all the other big fucking child abusers. I'll be dragging them out the prison and nailing them to a fucking cross. That's how it's going to work under Genvi. To act as a deterrent to paedophiles and child murderers and people like that is, you know, try and put them off doing it. They're going to have a really painful death and then they're going to go to hell. I mean, this guy knew hell's real, but he just didn't give a fuck. That's why you need men there as protectors at nurseries. But yeah, that's how it's going to be. Gonna be stripped. He's going to be stripped bollock naked. This little cunt here. Yeah, not when he's a little boy. When he's a man, he gets stripped bollock fucking naked. Yeah. And now to a cross. Now remember, King Charles is the one who likes to get little boys and get them bollock naked with him. Because he's a child molester. Piece of shit. Aren't you, King Charles? Ain't that right? Yeah, it is. Right, so we're going to move on to the next topic now. Another thing I need to talk to you about is the storage of your meat. Now, currently, it's a bit stupid. What you're doing, I'll show you. I've got my fridge freezer here. And in the fridge, I've got some ribs to eat. And I took them out of the freezer a couple of nights ago and put them in the fridge to defrost. What you're doing with your meat, with your fresh meat, is really stupid, because it's leading to a situation where quite a lot of your meat is going off when you get it home. You buy it in the shop fresh meat. You get it home, you put it in your fridge for a couple of days, and then you come to have a look at it and it's gone off. The reason is because you're not storing your meat properly, and this is something that annoys God, right? Something that annoys God, because ancient man knew how to store meat. You either salt it, you smoke it, or you freeze it. If you live in a really cold environment like the Arctic, you just, outside is a freezer. So you got, you know, the outside to store your meat because it's so cold outside. You live like Siberia or somewhere like that. So ancient man could understand how to store meat. But modern man seems to have forgotten. What they're doing, they're say getting a cow, cutting it up at the abattoir, then cutting it up further at the butcher's, and then putting it fresh on the chiller shelf, right? When what they should be doing is cutting the animal up and freezing it and then defrosting it as the store needs it. So the night before, the store thinks, oh yeah, we need some more beef steaks on the chiller shelf. So we'll get them out the freezer at the store and we'll put them on the shelf to defrost overnight. So they're ready then for the customers in the morning. So basically, instead of having fresh meat and frozen meat, because you do freeze some of your meat, you need to have frozen meat that's in a freezer at the supermarket, and you need to have defrosted meat that's just been defrosted the night before. That way, the customer, when they buy that defrosted meat that's only been defrosted from the night before, it's on the chiller shelf, they take it home, you know, it's got a good it's going to last a fair while in their fridge. You know what I mean? I mean, the thing about meat is it freezes really well. Meat and fish. There's no real quality lost from freezing it. So there's no point trying to, a supermarket, for example, trying to get the meat from the field, the farmer's field, you know, chop it up at the abattoir, chop it up at the butcher's, then flip in, put it on the shelf, hope that a customer comes and buys it. You know, there's no point doing that, because it's leading to a lot of meat wastage. I had a steak recently that I got home from the store. I bought it, you know, fresh meat off the chiller shelf. I whacked it straight in my freezer to store it. Then, about, you know, a couple of weeks later, I defrosted out of the freezer. I put it in my fridge to defrost overnight. I looked at it the next day, and it was, you know, it was beginning to turn. It was still edible, and I ate it, and it was nice, but it was very close. If I'd left it another day, that would have gone off. It's no good. Meat needs to be chopped off that cow, right, or pig, or whatever it is, and frozen as quickly as possible. And then if you do want to have defrosted meat, you know, meat that's on in a fridge on a chiller shelf, then that's fine, but it needs to have been defrosted the night before. Now you say, well, why don't the supermarkets do it this way? It's all legislation. The legislation needs to change so that, you know, supermarkets can do that. And when you've got free energy to power all the freezers, we have to store meat in a fridge anyway, which uses electric. But it's just something you need to do, because the earth has to make a lot of grain, a lot of food to feed a cow. A cow is a big animal. You know what I mean? These creatures are quite, like, I mean, you say, well, they feed on grass, yeah, but they have to fucking get hay for them for the winter and stuff like that. They have to grow grain for them through the winter months when the grass isn't growing. They eat a lot. We all want, I mean, humans are supposed to eat meat. You're not supposed to be vegetarian. You're supposed to be omnivores. You're supposed to have meat and, you know, fruit and vegetables to make you big and strong. You need meat in your diet, but we don't want to be wasting the meat that we're getting, you know what I mean? We're not storing it correctly. Ancient man knew how to do it. You've forgotten. And the legislation that controls this, that controls the supermarkets, is all wrong. You just got, on the shelf, you've got defrosted in the chiller section, in the fridge section, defrosted meat. And then you've got, you know, the frozen meat. And obviously you've got smoked meats and maybe salted meats as well. Yeah? So that's something that needs sorting out. Because a waste of natural resources, having to throw, you know, food away. It's not good. The last thing I want to talk about is, what can you do to help the environment currently? Because at the moment, King Charles doesn't want to work with me, and I've got loads of great ideas. Loads of great ideas for business, for the music industry, for the tech industry, you know, for computers and stuff like that. And I've got great ideas for the environment. But King Charles doesn't want to work with me at all. I've just been excluded from Reptile Club. No one from Reptile Club, you know, the Reptilians, will really have any dealing with me. like on a personal level. I'm excluded. I don't think I'd be, if I tried to get a job, I mean, I'm just using, I've got my money in crude oil, that's how I make my money. But if I wanted to try and get a job in British society, I think I'd really struggle. Because I've slagged off King Charles publicly, very publicly, he's kind of excluded me from reptile society. But then, to be fair, he's been sabotaging my life. He's been sabotaging my life since I was born, really. He's been trying to, you know, him and his father, Philip, have been trying to interfere with my life for a long time. Because they're cunts. And they didn't really like me. A lot of reptilians didn't like me because I'm not like them. I don't do the shapeshift. I'm not green with scales. I've got reptilian parents, but I'm a lot more unique than your average reptilian. You know, I care about the monkey men. I want them to do well because I view a monkey man as another good soldier on a battlefield. A monkey man can hold a gun, a machine gun, just like a reptilian man can, and fire at the enemy to get new earths, you know what I mean? If you've got more soldiers, you've got more fighting men, you've got more chance of winning battles. It's pretty simple. So, let's talk about the environment. What I want you to do, possibly, if you can, if you live on the coast, because King Charles isn't willing to work with me, what you can do to sort out this problem where we've been taking too much salt out of the ocean, to do your little bit if you live on the coast, is get some salt. You can buy some salt and pour it back into the ocean. Just sprinkle it in. Just go up to your waist in the water or something and sprinkle the salt in to the ocean. There's nothing to stop you doing that. Salt is only cheap. It's cheap to buy that. You know, it's a tub of salt there. Because we took too much salt out of the oceans, it's actually slowly killing the oceans. It's utterly stupid. The Greys have had you doing it. So that's something you could do, your own little bit to help the environment. Another thing you could do, if you live near an area where there's been a load of trees chopped down, because that's not been managed properly by King Charles and by the state, you could go plant some trees. If you've got a greenhouse or something like that, and grow some little sapling trees and go plant them yourself. You can do things to help the environment. And those are two big things that help. Because as a tree grows, it absorbs carbon. Because a tree is essentially just a big lump of carbon. And it releases oxygen. Do you get what I mean? And obviously you breathe oxygen. So that'll help the atmosphere. And then salting, putting a bit of salt in the seawater helps re-salt the oceans. Once I'm in power, it'll be done by the state. So all forestry will be managed a lot better. You won't just decimate an area of trees. You'll chop the trees down because you need the wood. You'll leave some standing, and then there'll be a team of guys paid for by the state, just with printed money, to go in and plant new trees to help nature recover quicker. It gives nature a helping hand. And then we'll be digging up a salt flat, a load of salt that's just on a salt flat, which is just like a dried up salt lake, like an ancient dried up salt lake, getting all the salt from there and then just sprinkling it back into the ocean to sort the oceans out, to re-salt them. Because those animals that live in salt water, they need the water to be salty to live. You know what I mean? That's what they've evolved to live in. If you kill the oceans, then you have a big loss of food. You know, they provide a lot of food in terms of, you know, fish. So, a couple of ideas for you to help out the environment. And don't litter as well. God hates that. A lot of cunts who litter. That's why you get microplastics into the environment, because of littering. A lot of cunts who do that, they think they're clever. They're just arseholes. God don't like them. And neither do I. So there's a couple of ideas on how you can help the environment. And obviously recycling, that's another one, isn't it? So there you go. Because we've got to wait till we get rid of King Charles, and I think it's going to be a couple of years yet. I think what's going to happen is he's going to do the Great Reset in a couple of years. So he's going to be around for a while, I think so. Unfortunately. But I'll keep slagging him off. We'll see if he does anything. That's the end of the video, and I'll see you in the next one.